Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we'll talk about the reproductive system, the last system in our book. Actually, there are two reproductive systems, as what you know, depending on the gender, the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. About the male reproductive system, it's very easy. You can depend on the PowerPoint and on the drawing in the PowerPoint and in your book to study it. Only what are the parts, then what is the function. Finally, the most important function is the function of the testes. These are the testes here in the male reproductive system. These two parts here, one, here is the second one. Both of them, they produce the hormone testosterone, which is responsible for the male reproductive properties or characteristics. Okay, يعني the deep voice and the face, hair, all the characteristics that show that this is an adult man. Okay, the other function, the very important function, and this is the goal of the whole reproductive system, that the testes produce the sperm. You know what are the sperm? The sperm are the male cells that carry 23 chromosomes and are used for reproduction, as what we studied in the first term. Okay, to can have fertilized egg, okay, we have to have two sex cells, male sex cells and a male sex cell and a female sex cell. The male sex cell is the sperm. The female sex cell is the egg. Together they make the they make the fertilized egg or the zygote, to can have the embryo which will develop to a new human here, because we are talking about a human. 23 plus 23 equals 46 chromosomes. Like what you see, all our information are completing each other from the beginning of the year up to now, alhamdulillah. So this is the most important part in the male reproductive system, the function of the testes. Okay, that's it. Let's start in the female reproductive system. Actually, the female's reproductive system is more complicated. It has many parts, and each part has its own responsibility, its own function. And as what we will see, it is responsible for two main things, two main functions generally. First, the menstruation. Second, the pregnancy. Menstruation means the period that comes to the girl every month after, starting from 9 to 13, most of you start having the period. Okay, this period comes every month. Mostly it has to come regularly, so we call it menstruation cycle. We call this menstruation cycle. The other, so, or we can say menstrual cycle or menstruation cycle, it's okay. The other function of the reproductive system is the pregnancy. Okay, يعني to bring a new human to the life. Let's start talking about the parts of the female. Let's talk now about the parts of the reproductive system. First, the main function of the reproductive system is to produce eggs and hormones. Eggs and hormones. The eggs are produced, when the eggs are produced. Do you think that you are producing eggs every month? Like the menstrual cycle? No. Actually, there are about 400,000 of eggs are produced before you are born, during the time when you were in your mother's uterus. During this time, your reproductive system is formed and it produces all the eggs. But what are these? Microscopic cells. Microscopic cells. Then, when the girl reaches the time of the puberty, what I mean by puberty, when you start having the period. This is the puberty time, okay? Or when you become, when your reproductive system becomes mature, okay? This is the time of puberty. Every month an egg will be developed, and it will go through changes. We will talk about them. Okay? Now, this is the first function, to produce eggs. And what is the egg? As you remember, this is the sex cell that has 23 chromosomes. When the egg merge with the sperm, okay, the egg is 23, the sperm is 23, they give the zygote. If you remember, 46. This zygote will develop to the embryo, which will develop to the new human. So this is the first function, to produce the eggs. Okay, the second function is to produce or to release the hormones. What are these hormones? Estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is responsible for what? Progesterone is responsible for what? Estrogen is responsible for the female characteristics. The female characteristics. Like your breasts, your wide hips, the female nice voice, all these characteristics that the female has depend on producing the estrogen. Progesterone is the hormone or the maternity hormone. What is the meaning of maternity? Maternity, it's responsible for the pregnancy, the developments during the pregnancy. Plus that the changes in the percentage of each one, okay, depending on each other, progesterone plus estrogen during the month make the menstruation cycle. The changes in the concentration of estrogen and progesterone, they have specific levels. When one of them, when the progesterone is higher, that means the egg will be released. If there is a pregnancy, the progesterone will stay high and the estrogen becomes less. Like this, these changes. So we don't have these details in the book. What do we have? That the levels of progesterone and estrogen, the changes in these levels, okay, cause the menstruation cycle. Cause the menstruation cycle. What is the menstruation cycle? The release of the egg. We will talk about it now. Let's go back now to our to the reproductive system and the parts of the reproductive system. First of all, we will talk about these two parts here and here. Sorry, not this. This and this. What are these? The two ovaries. The two ovaries. One to the left, one to the right. As we said, in these two ovaries, all the eggs were born with you. Your eggs are born with you. During your life, after the puberty, every woman will release about 400 eggs during her life, during her mature life. طيب, how they will be produced? The others will be broken down, will be decayed. Nothing. يعني we are born with about 400,000, but we release during our life about 400 mature eggs. Every month, one egg, normally one egg, is developed and it will be released from one ovary. Alternatively, 1 month from the right, 1 month from the left. Sometimes, eventually, 2 eggs can be developed, like in the twins. Sometimes more, like in the multiple pregnancy, when some women have 3 or 4 twins like this. Okay, so this is the function of the ovary. In the ovary, every month, 1 egg will be developed. Look at this. The development of the egg. It starts from microscopic egg, then it will become bigger and bigger and bigger until it is. So, it takes about from the beginning of the cycle. When we say the beginning of the cycle, what is the beginning of the cycle? The beginning of the cycle is the first day of the period. Okay? The first day of the period, it means you start in a new cycle. Okay? The old egg and the blood that comes with the egg will be removed and the new egg will start developing. Okay, when we will finish, we'll understand more, inshallah. First, the egg develops. It takes about 5 to 7 days to develop. Then, when it is mature, when it is developed enough, it will be taken by this organ. What is this organ? This is the fallopian tube. We have 2 also. 2 that will pick the egg from each ovary. The egg will move through this fallopian tube. How it will move? The fallopian tube has an internal wall that has mucus that enable the egg to move on it, or it will move the egg on it. Okay, then the egg will stay in the middle of the fallopian tube for about 2 days. This will be in the middle of the menstruation cycle. The menstruation cycle is about 28 days normally. Some women have up to 30, some women have up to 31, 32 days. But the very, very typical one is the 28 days. Every 28 days, the one who has period every 28 days, this is the very, very typical one. Okay, the standard one. طيب, let's say in such one, for sure not all the women are copies from each other. There are differences, but here we are talking about the very standard one, 28 days. Half the time, about 14 days, the egg will be here for about 2 days. طيب, what will happen? There are two choices or two possibilities that may take place. First of all, when the egg is here, it will stay for 2 days waiting for sperm. Waiting for what? For sperm. If this reproductive system is for a girl who is not married, it will stay 2 days, then nothing happens. It will keep moving to come to the uterus. In the uterus, it will at the end of the cycle, when we come to 28 days, it will be removed out through the cervix, then through the vagina. It will be removed with what? Let's talk now about the uterus. What will happen in the uterus? The uterus, from the beginning of the cycle, after removing the previous egg, it will start preparing to the new pregnancy. Every month it becomes prepared for the new pregnancy. How it will be prepared? By thickening its walls. The walls of the uterus here, they become thicker. They will have more capillaries of blood to enable the egg, the fertilized egg, to be fixed here. So it will be prepared. If there is pregnancy or no, it will be prepared. طيب, this thickness of capillaries of blood and nourishments, what will happen to it? If there is no pregnancy, they will be removed out at the end of the 28 days. That's it. This is the period. This is the menstruation. When the blood comes out, it will come with the egg, removing all the thickness of the walls of the uterus. خلاص, there is no pregnancy. That's it. Okay? طيب. The other possibility, let's go back to the fallopian tubes. If the woman was married and everything was okay in her reproductive system, everything is going well. Okay, so finally at the 14 days, when the egg was here, the sperm enters to the reproductive system, to the female reproductive system. Then it moves to the fallopian tube and the fertilization will take place. Sperm plus egg will make fertilized egg. So directly here, this will be zygote. We said this happens if the sperm enters. Okay? طيب. The zygote now started. What is this? It has half chromosome from mother, half a chromosome from father. خلاص, this is the first cell in the embryo. What will happen? What is the next process that will take place? Remember, what is it? Mitosis. Mitosis will start directly. The zygote, that is one cell, will divide to be 2. The 2 becomes 4. The 4 becomes 8, and so on. It will stay here about 5 days. 5 days dividing until it becomes the beginning of the embryo. Then it will come here to this place and it will be fixed inside the uterus. This is the beginning of the pregnancy, the beginning of 9 months. يعني at the end of these 9 months, the baby will be developed. Okay, we will talk about the developing of the fetus inside the uterus until it becomes grown enough to be delivered. Okay, now at the beginning it was zygote, then it becomes embryo. When it divides, when the zygote divides, it becomes embryo. We call this part here. So this is the function of the uterus. We know it. To prepare to receive the fertilized egg, and to fix the fertilized egg. To receive the embryo, then to contain the embryo until it develops and to grow enough to be delivered. Then the cervix here. The cervix is like the neck of the uterus, through which also it is able to, it is a muscular organ, like the uterus also is muscular for sure. It is able to become larger enough to pass the baby through to come out of the body of the woman. That's it. Then finally the vagina is the last part. Okay, this is the last of our lesson today. I prefer to finish because the next week is the last week. I will give only another, I think I can give one more video or 2 videos the next week. Then inshallah, maybe I am not sure, we will have check your progress also on our website بإذن الله. Okay, so inshallah, see you in the next video.